Boys, welcome back for our week 2 of the Barbers United Fantasy Football League prediction show. So we're going into week 2. This is coming out Thursday morning, and so games are tonight. Tonight we have the Chargers versus the Chiefs. Should be a great game. Who are you excited to watch? Anybody?
Mike Williams. I need a bounce back recovery from week 1. Also excited for Edwards-Helaire, see if he can keep up his production.
So you've got guys on both sides.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's a good sign.
Awesome.
Chargers and Chiefs offense, baby.
So let's root for lots of points.
That's what
no
we're
defense.
hoping.
And both offenses looked great in week 1. So you should be fine. You should be great. So let's get into this. Here we go. Going into week 2, we're going to start off with the standings just to show everybody where everyone is at. So right here you see it. First place from top to bottom. We've got Blake in first, Marcos in second, I am in third, Lucas is in fourth, Josh Turley in fifth, followed by Josh Lott in sixth, Hunter in seventh, Jacob in eighth, Philip in ninth, Schutz in 10th, Sam in 11th, and Braden is in last place currently. So, looking at these standings going into week 2 and for the rest of the season, Marcos, give me your underdog pick for who you think that is not in the top 6, which is the cutoff for the playoffs, but you think will be there come end of season.
I'm going to have to stick with Philip on that one. I think, like I said, me and him had a lot of people that we were both trying to going for and wanting to end up getting on our team. And so if they can produce how I obviously expect them to, then I think he'll be in that top 6 pretty easily by the end of the season.
Definitely. So if you guys watched the last video, or if you did miss it, I did explain that we had shot a preview going into the season, a season-long preview with Braden, with Sam. However, I had some issues on my end. Like I said, just getting used to this, trying to get a good feel for editing and shooting the videos. Had a little bit of issues on my end, was not able to release that. However, Marcos was talking about in that video about how during the auction, him and Philip were going back and forth with a lot of players that Marcos liked, Philip ended up getting. So Marcos last week was talking about how he liked Philip's team. That's one of the teams he saw making the playoffs and one of the teams that he predicted to win last week that did it. So he's sticking to his guns. He's sticking by Philip to come back from a 0-1 start and make the playoffs. I'm going to pick Sam. Now mine was between Sam and Philip. But the thing about Sam was, looking at his roster, I know he's in 11th, so this is a little bit of a comeback story from 11th to 6th. Not really, because it's week 1, but still, Sam's players are really, really good. I just do not see Eckler, Kamara, Metcalf, Thielen, Darnell Mooney, guys just putting up less than 10 points in another week. Like, that's just insane, especially a guy like Kamara, which has come out since then that he was dealing with a little bit of a rib issue, but he should be okay. Hopefully he gets a little bit healthier throughout the season. There's no way he's going to get another 7-point game, or at least not consistently. And Eckler to only have 11, Metcalf, Thielen, I just think he's got a really, really good team that just had a bad week 1 performance. So I see him having no trouble coming back from the bottom and getting into that playoffs, that top 6 spot. So those are our underdog predictions. Hopefully those come true. But let's go ahead and we're going to get into these week 2 matchups, get right into it. And we're going to see who we have to win and make our predictions. Like I said in last episode, I gave the current prediction records. Last week I went undefeated. I predicted all 6 winners right. I'm going to try to keep that up for you guys. Marcos went 2-4. Braden went 4-2. Sam went 4-2. I'll try to get those other guys' predictions if we can get them for you, and I will insert them some way in this video. But me and Marcos will go through ours now. Marcos, who do you have, before we get into these, who is your most intriguing matchup? Let's start with your most intriguing matchup.
I'm going to go with Hunter and Josh being my most intriguing matchup, mainly because there's a lot of injury, a lot of questions on both of their rosters as far as what production is going to look like moving forward after week 1. And then, like I said, just players being out, roster spots needing to be filled. I'm very interested to see how both of them handle that, and then as a result, obviously, which one of them ends up coming out on top.
Perfect.
So I would definitely say that would be my most intriguing matchup.
Perfect, yeah. So we have number 5 versus number 7, which I think is the closest as far as the seeds currently are standing. Number 5, Josh, versus number 7, Hunter. And did you make your prediction right there? Who did you pick to win?
Yes. I don't think I made it. I'm picking Hunter to win, depending on who he can put at quarterback.
Yes. So at this time, our waivers, at the time of filming, our waivers have not run yet. So it is kind of depending on who he gets at quarterback. Do you have any recommendations?
Geno Smith.
Geno Smith. Okay. So he's saying go for Geno Smith. So depending on who his quarterback is, could make a little bit of a difference, but assuming he gets a decent quarterback or one of the better ones on the waiver wire, he's going to stick with Hunter. I'm going to go with Josh. I thought that Josh was going to be an upset pick last week. He wasn't. A couple other people ended up picking him. But I'm going to ride with Josh here only because I don't know who his quarterback is going to be. And so until we know that, then we're just going to go off of this. And I kind of talked about Hunter's team last week. And obviously, like I said, the video did not come out. Hunter did a really good job at building his starting lineup. That was pretty much what he focused on. And then his bench was kind of picked up through the waiver wire. So I was saying I thought Hunter would get off to a great start to the season because he had such a strong starting lineup. So obviously last week with Dak Prescott getting hurt and just having a terrible performance, that really hurt him because he could have easily beat me if Dak Prescott had a good to great week. So he's off to an 0-1 start. I do still think he has a great starting lineup. He's got Jamar Chase, A.J. Brown. At the time of this, we don't know if Keenan Allen's going to be healthy or not, but Keenan Allen, DJ Moore wasn't used at all. So I think he's got a great team. I'm going to ride with Josh just because Mahomes and Kelsey got off to such a great start last week. His number one option, his only option that he's super consistent with. And that game's tonight. So I think it's going to be a shootout. I'm going to ride with those guys, but I could see it going either way. My most intriguing matchup of the week, which I'll do next, is Lucas versus Sam. This one's tough because Lucas had a really good week last week despite Devontae Smith giving him absolutely nothing. And he still won and still put up good points. So I like Lucas's roster. I think he's got one of the better rosters in the league. But then I also have Sam, who is my underdog pick to go on top, or to come from the bottom to the top. And so I'm actually going to ride with Sam on this one just because I do think his players will have a bounce back week, get right week, and he will win. But when you have Cooper Kupp on the other side, it's hard to pick against him. Marcos,
I'm sticking with Lucas on that one. Like you said, his roster has a lot of really strong points. Definitely someone that's a contender to win it all, and that's without DeAndre Hopkins that is on his bench.
But we'll pick up with mine. Mine versus Jacob. And I am predicted right now to lose pretty badly, but I was predicted to lose in week 1, so I will take that gladly. I'm going to pick myself for obvious reasons. Marcos, who do you have in this week?
After seeing Jacob's team perform last week, I think I'm going to stick with you on this one. I picked against you. Didn't always work in my favor. So we're going to stick with only fades for the win.
Yes, sir. That was one thing, too. In the preview, we talked about people's names, and we actually didn't even talk about that in the recap show. So I guess we can talk a little bit about it on the prediction show. But I picked Lucas in week 1 solely because of his name, which if you saw before, and I'll put it right back up, Book of Mormon's the GOATed name, and he wins the award for best name in the league. So next, let's go to Marcos in Shuts. Marcos, number 2 in the league versus Shuts, number 10 in the league. I'm going to go with Marcos on this one. Shuts didn't have a great week. He's predicted to do really good, so hopefully he can have a bounce back week. But I think Marcos is going to win because he's got Justin Jefferson, who literally gets open on every single play, and no one's within 10 yards of him. So until defenses learn how to stop him, I don't know if he will stop going off.
I think Sleeper is sleeping on me and overhyping Shuts' team a little too much. I'm also predicting that I will win. I'm sticking with myself because if you don't love yourself, no one will.
It's true.
And so I'm expecting another big week from Justin Jefferson, another big week from Stephon Diggs. James Conner had a pretty good game for me, pretty consistent. If he can stick around there, and the rest of my players, like I said, Mike Williams and Edwards-Helaire, Edwards-Helaire can keep playing well. Mike Williams can step it up a little bit. I don't think I'll have too much trouble beating Shuts, but we'll see. I've been wrong before.
And final matchup of the week, Braden versus Blake. This is number 1 versus number 12. Braden needs Aaron Rodgers to actually show up this week. Please, please, please. Braden does not want to stay in last place. He needs to get some points. This is tough because Blake just had the best week and Braden had the worst week. I don't think Braden is as bad. I do not believe Braden's team is as bad as it performed last week. However, this is currently the number 1 team who just went off. And so until Saquon Barkley either gets hurt or has a bye week, he may not even lose. So I'm going to go with Blake, but I do not think it's going to be that big of a blowout, and I could see Braden pulling it off.
Yeah, I think it'll be a closer game than what's being predicted, that's for sure. Blake has a strong team. I'm sticking with him as well. but definitely maybe secretly rooting for Braden.
Perfect.
to pull off
So,
an upset.
a couple of the little superlatives that we do. Most intriguing matchup, I talked about mine. Mine's Lucas versus Sam. I think those are two very good rosters. And I have Sam also as my upset of the week this week on Upset Alert from number 11, taking down the number 4. And it's basically what I've already said 10 times. I think Sam's roster is a lot better than it performed. I like the guys on his team, and I think that they're not going to have another bad week. So I think Sam will bounce back, and I think he could pull off the comeback. So
For most desperate, we have Jacob Weir. Only because I know how badly he probably wants to beat you this week.
there you go.
You guys have had a long running rivalry. So
Yeah,
we'll
we
see
have.
who comes out on top this week.
I almost always do, but hey, anything can happen. So there you go. Those are our predictions. We will keep track of those records, and we will discuss them next Tuesday when we come out with our recap of week 2. So tune in for that. And if you have not already, like, subscribe, follow, share, whatever you're supposed to do. Just do it. Help us out. So appreciate you guys. Until next week, good luck.